I've got to say, I've just kind of read the most ridiculous thing in the media so far that I've seen. This it was about Nicholas Raskin. So we've seen Raskin linked to Leeds, we've seen him linked to Aston Villa. Two pretty big clubs in English football. Obviously, Aston Villa finished top four the last couple of seasons, played Champions League football. Have in the past have won the English League, have been champion, have won the Champions League. They're a big club, Aston Villa. They're probably the biggest club in the Midlands. Well respected, big club with a long established history. So you can kind of see the link to Villa, a club that will, I think, compete for Champions League football again this season. Leeds, you can understand as well, obviously linked with Rangers, trying to stay in the Premier League, big club with a big past, having won the English League in the past, got to European finals in the past, big club, huge club. So look, you've got two big clubs there. Now, the story that we've seen in the media today is, or this evening, is Raskan apparently attracting interest from Wolverhampton Wanderers. It actually made me laugh. It genuinely made me laugh. If Wolves think they've got a genuine opportunity to actually buy Nicholas Raskan. Now, Wolves historically, yes, have been a big club. Not a big. They've been a big club, not a massive club. You wouldn't talk about Wolves in the same breath as Villa, as Spurs, as Arsenal, Chelsea, Manchester United, Manchester City, Liverpool, even Everton to some degree. They're a club that hasn't been largely competitive in the top division for quite a while now. They're a team that finished fifth off bottom last season. I think the season before they struggled as well. I've gone through numerous different managers, a bit like us really. Have lost their best player this year in Matthias Cunha. He's left to go to Manchester United. They're not a good side. They're a pretty poor side, and I think had you had one of the top one of those clubs who were promoted last season been remotely half decent, you could have seen Wolves actually drawn in further into the relegation mire and possibly even relegated last season, although Tottenham were below them. But I would have backed Tottenham to get out of it in a situation where it actually mattered. So you're looking at a club that well could even return to the Championship, could be relegated next season if one of those three promoted clubs, Burnley, Sunderland or Leeds, survive next season. And I think Leeds have got a fairly decent chance to survive. The other two, I think, will go straight back down. I think Sunderland and Burnley, both relegation fodder, both kind of average-sized clubs, will go straight back down again. But, I think there's a chance, obviously, Wolves could go down. Now, Raskan, obviously, he's at Rangers at the moment, a club that has regularly 55,000, has a chance to win trophies, plays European football. I don't get why people would think, even Wolves would think, that was a viable move for the player. Raskan is on the up at the moment. He's a player who is outplaying Kevin De Bruyne in the Belgian national team. He's highly thought of across Europe. He's a top player. You're looking at 25 million for the player. Now, Wolves might be able to find 25 million. Fine. But for the player himself, he's got to look at it and think, that is not a good move for my career. To move to a relegation struggling club in the English Premier League, a club that's probably going to struggle against relegation again this season, as opposed to perhaps going to somewhere like Villa, or even going somewhere like Brighton or Bournemouth or Brentford, who are the top 10 Premier League clubs, who could actually give him a chance to even get, compete for European football this season, or in Villa's case, actually play European football this season, or even somewhere like Forest as well. Again, we're playing in the Conference League this season. So, Wolves, I think it could be just media rubbish. And I've got to say, some Wolves fans that I've heard tonight, absolutely deluded, insisting that Wolves are a bigger club than Rangers. I think it's just a joke for a club that's not even the biggest in their own area. But, I think at the end of the day, you've got to look at this and kind of treat it with the contempt it deserves. And I think, if it was to kind of go to Wolves, you kind of question the boy's ambition. You really would. It's like I said, it's a club that's probably going to struggle against relegation next season. So personally, don't see anything in it. Don't see it as an option. I think Wolves are pissing in the wind, if I'm being wholly honest with that. I think they're kidding themselves if they think they've got any chance of signing Nicholas Raskan. Absolute joke. Can't see it happening. It's just ridiculous. It just genuinely is ridiculous, guys. But just sort of bring it to your attention, let you know, give you a laugh tonight as well. It's not a viable option. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the content, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. And remember, always, we are the people.